Entering the Key Cavern, we immediately see a door close in front of us. Just like in Knightmare Castle, we're going to take a pot and throw it up against the door, which is going to open it for us. There's also going to be this little room to the right side, but if we walk in, there's a vacuum mouth that actually pushes this time instead of pulls, so we're going to need to come back to this a little bit later. A pretty common theme in this dungeon is going to be to just take out all of the enemies on the screen, and then you're going to get rewarded with either a key or a chest. So pretty much, straightforward. Just get rid of all these bomb bites and the Stalfos Knight, and then, chest drops down from the ceiling, and boom bam. We're rewarded with our first small key. Moving up the left side of the room and trying to go into the next screen, we actually can't move past these little small, bouncy obstacles, so we're going to have to come back to that a little bit later. So we go back around and go to the right side. As I said before, the common theme is just to take out all of the enemies on the screen. This is going to unlock all 3 doors in the room and drop down a chest, which is actually filled with just another green slime enemy, so just take it out, I guess. Moving into the next room on the right, we actually see that all of the blue platforms are raised, so we're going to have to find one of those colored crystals and come back to this a little bit later. Entering this next room to the north, we see 2 Stalfos enemies that we can take out, but there's also this little red Zol on the left side, and we're not going to be able to get to it until we get the item for the dungeon. So we're pretty much just going to have to come back to this later, and we'll actually get rewarded with a chest, but we'll come back to that. Moving to the next room, you can kill all the enemies, but the blue platforms are still raised, so you're pretty much just going to have to go down the stairs. Heading down the stairs, we come to a room where there's actually 4 different key locks on the doors, so you basically just have to make a decision here. I ended up going with the bottom door first, just because I guess that's just what I wanted to do, and you come across these new enemies that we've never seen before. This enemy is a Parod. It's kind of annoying because it teleports all the way around the room pretty much every time you try to get close to it, so just use what you have, which in this case in the bottom room tends to be pots, to just throw it at it. Other than that, it's going to drop a key once you kill all of the enemies in the room, so grab it and we can try to go into one of the other doors. Pretty sure I was just going clockwise with this at this point, so I went to the left room, which we see 2 more Parods, and we're basically just going to try to outsmart them with some bombs, which is kind of a bad tactic. If you have the bow and arrow at this point, it's a lot better of a weapon, but I didn't have it, so I'm basically just going to use the Rock's Feather to jump across and make one of them teleport, but I'll place a bomb where they're going to teleport, so that way when they teleport they get hit. Just rinse and repeat that tactic if you have to over and over again. Hopefully you have the bombs for that. But yeah. As always, once we kill both of the Parods, a key drops down from the ceiling. I don't know what would happen if it fell, but I was able to grab it pretty quickly. I'm not sure what else to say about that. So either way, we're going to go to the top room, and here we see one of the light crystals where we can change the different block platforms to blue or red. So if you do this one, you can actually go back up top and grab that chest. Heading upstairs and opening this chest, we're rewarded with the stone beak that we get in each of the dungeons. So of course we can get any of the tips from the stone bird statues throughout. Making our way back downstairs and opening up this 4th door, we have some sort of a little conveyor belt system here with another Parod. I honestly would just recommend not worrying about this Parod at all. You can kill him by putting bombs on the conveyor belt if you really want to, but nothing drops out of this room, there's no key or anything that you get, so I would recommend just going back up the stairs. Going up the stairs, we're on this little pedestal. Just go down the stairs and then walk around the pedestal and make sure you get rid of all these green souls. After you do that, there should be a key that drops down from the ceiling. Walking out into this biggest room of the dungeon, I'm going to go to the left first and get rid of all these red souls, which is going to open back up the doors. And we go to the left. Here we see 2 Parods, just kind of use the same tactics we've used before with the bombs and kind of get them to blow up, and then we're going to get rewarded with another key that falls down from the ceiling. This next room is the basic same concept, except there's a green Stalfos who will jump on top of you and try to ground pound you, I guess. But I mean, pretty simple. Just kill all of the enemies once again, and then you're going to see a chest fall from the ceiling, but it's kind of out of your reach, so we have to go up into the next room. This room is kind of significant because we're going to be using a lot of bombs in this dungeon, so remember that you can come back here to get that little 10 bomb power up. Other than that, kill the 2 bomb bites and the Stalfos Knight, and we can head up the stairs to see what was in that chest. Opening the chest, we get a purple rupee, which is nice for your wallet, I guess, but no significance for the dungeon really, and then we make our way down to come back out into the large room. Taking our first left into this room, we actually walk into the mini-boss room where we have to fight 2 Dodongo snakes. The basic premise here is you're just going to try to place a bomb in front of them as they open their mouth, so that way they eat it, and then after you do it a couple of times, they'll explode. Taking out both of them is going to open back up the little teleporter that we get every time, and it's going to send us back to the first room. So, no big deal, just make sure you have a lot of bombs for this. Making our way into the next room, we move a couple of blocks around to open up our path to the chest, and we get rewarded with the Hermes Boots. And this is actually really helpful because now we're going to be able to take out those little bouncy obstacles, so we can just run through those and it'll pop them, which is nice. So now we can backtrack if we want to and open up some of those chests that we missed. Since we forgot to earlier, going back to the room where the blue platforms were raised, we make our way all the way around to open the chest, and we get the map, which is going to show us all of the other rooms that we can explore in the dungeon. Going back to that left side of the path where we initially couldn't get to that red Zol, we kill it and a chest drops down from the ceiling. Going back around to open it, we get rewarded with a golden rupee, which is actually really nice because it gives us 300 rupees. This is going to help you buy the bow if you haven't already, so that's kind of nice. Yeah. Taking the top doorway on the very large room, we see a sort of like little arrow pattern on the floor as well as a couple enemies. If we put a bomb at the end of the arrow, it'll actually blow up and open up a secret room. Entering this secret room, we can take out 2 Stalfos Knights, and there's actually a little bomb wall on the left, but it's actually completely optional. It basically just gives you a little bit more space to pull off a Pegasus Boot Rock's Feather combo, which is gonna be your go-to move when you need to get across anything that has a 3-block gap or anything like that. So you can use Pegasus Boots to run and then Rock's Feather to jump, and it's basically going to make you jump a 3-block distance, which is kind of nice for closing those gaps that you couldn't get across before. Anyway, hopping across the next gap, we open a chest to get the Knightmare Key, which is what we're going to need to use to open the boss room. So we hop down from here and head up through the little doorway. Here we see 3 green bomb bites. These are a little bit different as they use some like little countdown timer, which basically just means you have to run away from them. No big deal. Take out all the enemies in the room, and then boom bam, the door's going to open. Making our way into the next room, there's a couple of different enemies that we can take out, and we can open the chest to get the compass, which is going to pair nicely with the map as always. Just in case you were wondering, there is a room next to that one where you can actually drop a bomb and put it next to the little hole in the wall, and this is going to actually blow open the secret passageway to get back into this room, so now we can head down there and get into whatever there is there. Walking into the room, we can take out a couple of regular old bomb bites, and then a key is going to drop from the ceiling, which is going to be our 3rd key. We grab it really quickly, and then we can head back to the beginning to try to take on that vacuum mouth. Teleporting back to the beginning and making our way into this next room on the right, we see the vacuum mouth once again, and we can use the Hermes Boots to basically just charge up on top of him and then hit him, and then it's basically just going to get rid of him. So we open the chest and get our 4th silver key. From here, we head back to the large room and we make our way through this little center section by using all of the keys that we have to get rid of any of these little blockades that have the keyholes on them. Then we can head down these stairs into a little side-scrolling section. The first thing we notice is this big red thwomp, so we hit it with our Hermes Boots charge, and then it drops down, letting us get past it, and then we do another Hermes Boots jump to get all the way past this gap, and we head back down past this little piranha plant. This is going to bring us out into this little room where there's a lot of those bouncy obstacles in the way, and there's a couple of pair odds. With the speed of the Hermes Boots, we can actually take them out no problem now, so take all of them out and it'll open the door for us, and go ahead and grab that little 3 heart piece in case you need it, and then we'll move on to the boss. By the way, once you open up this next room and you go in, there's a couple of different keys that you need to kill. Once you kill all of the keys, it actually gives you an 8th small key, and I'm not really sure why, considering we're at the end now and we've opened all the doors we can. So, I mean, I guess you can kind of just ignore that because there's really nothing to use it on. So we'll just head on into the boss room now. Walking through the boss door, we open up into an empty room where we hear somebody talking to us, so we take our Hermes Boots and slam up against the wall, and then the big slime flies down from the roof. Here we have the Slime Eye boss, and it's basically like one of the easiest bosses that I've fought so far. You basically just keep hitting him in the eye of either one of the sides that he has an eye on, and then you use the Pegasus boots to kind of charge in between them and split, and then he'll separate into two separate slimes. After this, he kind of moves into a phase where one of them is going to try to jump on you at all times, and they kind of alternate between themselves. So you're basically just going to try to get in front of them and hit them in the eye a couple of times until they pop, and then yeah, rinse and repeat for the other one, and you're good to go. As a quick side note, by the way, anytime they jump up in the air, they can stagger you when they hit the ground. If you use your Rock's Feather to jump off of the ground as they do that, it won't stagger you. So just a quick tip there. As always, after defeating a boss, we're going to grab our heart piece and increase our life by 1 extra heart, and then we're going to move on into the next room where we can grab our instrument. Walking into the room, we see the Sea Lily's bell sitting up on top of the podium, so we walk up and grab it, and then we hear the nice little tune that it plays, and then the screen turns white. As the screen turns white, the bell tells us that we need to head to some sort of waterfall, that it's hidden behind the waterfall, and then as we exit the cave, we meet the owl once again. From here, the owl's basically just going to tell us that we need to head over to the Yarna Desert, which is going to be our next stop. So anyways, that pretty much does it for this guide. I hope this helped you guys out in some way. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next guide.